Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to another English class here on verbling.com. My name is Lisa, and in this hour we're going to be having a reading class. So if you made a reservation for this hour, you can go ahead and use it now. You can always use the reservation in the first 2 minutes of the class. If you didn't have a reservation, then that's okay. You can just wait a second, and when you see the join class button, you can join. So hi there, Hamid. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
Good. Um, did you refresh your page at all? Because I got the Verbling loading again when I
Yeah,
first
I
started.
refreshed, but I didn't see when I see the join class button. I
Oh,
clicked, then I closed the window.
okay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I think everybody can see it on the main page. So if you guys are watching this and you want to join and come on in and read with us, you can. The Verbling chat's not working for me, so we can use the group chat. And Hamid just supplied us with the article, the link to the article. We're going to be reading something kind of completely different than we've been reading recently. I found it yesterday online on a Asian scientist website or something like that. So it's kind of interesting. Marty, how are you?
How are you? Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Marty, where are
Nice to
you
meet
calling
you.
from?
I am calling from Italy.
Italy. Oh, okay. From Sicily, huh?
Yeah, from Sicily.
Nice. Okay. How's your weather right now in Sicily?
Today there is a bad weather.
Oh,
It's
really?
raining. Yeah,
Oh, it's
really.
raining. Oh, okay. Not like your picture, huh? Where it's sun with the sun.
Yeah, yeah, it's the song.
Yeah. Is that a picture of where you live?
This is a picture from Naples.
Oh, from Naples. Oh, okay. Nice. Wonderful.
Mhm.
Okay. Awesome. Hi, Amparo. Amparo, are you there? Maybe her Google Hangout is
Hello.
still loading.
Can you
So,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well, but I'm having issues again to get into the class.
What kind of issues?
Well, it appears just loading your
Oh.
application and then nothing happens.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
have to refresh the page again and to join to click on the join button again
Ah.
and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes that happens to me too. So I don't know what goes on, but luckily you're here now. What did you say in Henna's lesson? What happened, Hamid?
I mean, like Amparo's problem, I
Oh,
refreshed 5 times in
oh,
the screen share, and I
yeah.
lost 40 seconds to my
Uh-huh.
reservation right.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, yeah, sometimes it's you lose your reservation, but hopefully it's not full. Sometimes the classes are full. This hour is pretty full. Some of the other hours are full. Some of the certain classes get full, but usually you can get into the class even if they said fully booked. So, but depends. Okay, hi Israel. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, good. Welcome to class. So, okay, guys, well, this is a reading class, and so the purpose of the reading class is, in research they actually find that a reading, they call it, what do they call it? Like reading that you do because you choose to is one of the best ways to improve your vocabulary. So we call it self-selected reading or pleasure reading or something like that. So this might not be the exact topic that you would choose, but the idea for me for doing a lot of reading classes is that you get the opportunity to learn a lot of vocabulary. Usually it's interesting, some of the topics are interesting. I get articles from the web, of course, the internet, and lots of different sites. And if you ever want to, oh, Amparo, you sent me that one. I forgot about it. I was gonna put it. Maybe I can do it for tomorrow. If you want to send me a link to an article that you would like to read or something you think is interesting, you can do that. And because I don't know all the websites, but there are lots of websites out there. And so I came across this one actually. I don't know, just clicking around yesterday. This is a website called the Asian Scientist, news and information from the Asian scientific community. And so this is kind of interesting. It's called Myopia, a middle-class disease with a question mark there. So this is a question. And so we're going to read about that. I think you guys probably understand myopia. It's probably similar in your language. I don't know in Turkish, but probably in Spanish and Italian, I know. Is it like the same thing in Turkish, Hamid? Myopia?
In Turkish, it is a myop.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, you wrote it there. Okay. Yeah, so you guys probably know what this means. With needing glasses, when you can't see far away, and so you need to put your glasses on, and it's called nearsightedness. So we're going to read about that and what's happening specifically in China, but I thought it's interesting and relevant to people around the world as well. And it gives us a chance to talk about something new and different. And some people like scientific topics, right, Hamid? Okay.
Like me, my profile pictures Einstein.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, and let's see. Bakri's joining us. Hi, Bakri. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you. Okay, and so we're just getting started, and Hamid put the link to the document in the group chat. So some of the people's my verbling chat isn't working. I don't know if yours is working, but I don't know why. It hasn't been working for a while. Anyways, we're going to get started. So the way I do the reading class is I read first. So when I'm reading out loud, that's a chance for you to listen. So you can just relax and listen. You can do a couple of things, because this is for your learning. You could even just close your eyes and listen, see if you can understand just by hearing me, listening to me. Or you can read along and read along while you listen to me, and that way you are seeing the words and how I'm pronouncing them, things like that. And then you're going to have an opportunity to read out loud, so you can practice your own pronunciation, intonation, how you read sentences, that type of thing. And then I will go over some vocabulary. If there is something that I don't go over, that I don't explain, that you want me to explain, or you have a question, then just make sure your microphone is unmuted and just ask the question. You can also make comments or ask questions or something in the group chat. We know nowadays that people can do lots of different things at once, not necessarily the best thing for us, but we get impatient sometimes and we want to participate, and so you can do that by typing in the group chat. If you have a comment or something, then you can do that. Okay, so I'll get started. Myopia, a middle-class disease. A study of 20,000 children shows that nearsightedness is twice as prevalent in middle-income areas than lower-income ones in China. In one of the largest population-based studies ever conducted on nearsightedness in children, researchers have discovered that lower-income students in China have better vision than their middle-class counterparts. Data show that nearsightedness, also called myopia, is twice as prevalent in the middle-income province of Shanxi compared to the poorer neighboring province of Gansu. The study was published in Ophthalmology, the Journal of the American Academy of Ophthalmology. Okay, why don't we start with Amparo today?
A study of 20,000 children shows that nearsightedness is twice as prevalent in middle-income areas than lower-income ones in China. In one of the largest population-based studies ever conducted on nearsightedness in children, researchers have discovered that lower-income students in China have better vision than their middle-class counterparts. Data show that nearsightedness, also called myopia, is twice as prevalent in the middle-income province of Shanxi compared to the poorer neighboring province of Gansu. The study was published in Ophthalmology, the Journal of the American Academy of Ophthalmology.
Okay, great. Okay, so now I'll just go over some things. So myopia, that's the more scientific term that your doctor will use, but we usually say nearsightedness, or we say the opposite would be farsightedness. So what it means is actually that you can see near, so it's no problem for you to read a book or be on the computer or something like that, but you can't see very well at distance. So the farther things are, the harder it is for you to see them clearly. So it's twice as prevalent. Prevalent means the occurrence. How often does it occur? So twice as much in the middle income areas. In the middle income areas, meaning we have the upper, the wealthy people, the upper income, middle income, and then lower income. So the lower income would be more of the poor people, obviously. Okay, so largest population based. So based in population. So this is a study that's based just on the population of these children, and 20,000. I guess that's a lot for a study. This is the largest one. The researchers have discovered. So when we're reading articles about research, there are a lot of the words they say over and over, and discover is one of them. Also, they might say researchers have found, researchers have uncovered, researchers have just figured out, that type of thing. Let's see, that lower income students have better vision than their middle class counterparts. So a counterpart is somebody who's just like you but in a different group. So, like if you have a lower income student, the counterpart would be the middle class student, the middle income student. So they're comparing the same things. So we say comparing apples to apples, or versus apples to oranges. So they're not comparing students to like elderly people, for example. The counterpart is another student in this case. All right, so the data or data, you can say it either way. That's the information that they collected. Just again, twice as prevalent in the province compared to. So that's what they do a lot in studies, is they're comparing different populations, different incidents of what's happening. And so that's how they use that, compared to the poorer, so more poor, but we say poorer, neighboring province. So the one that's right next door, usually, that's what neighboring means, right on the border. So you have this province, they're more middle income people, and then the next province right next to them, the neighboring one, has poor people in it. And ophthalmology is just the study of your eyes, and so you go to an ophthalmologist to have your eyes checked. Especially, ophthalmologists are different than optometrists. Optometrists just measure acuity, is what we call that, how well you see. But an ophthalmologist is a doctor, and so they also deal with diseases of the eyes, not just how well you see. Okay? In certain developed parts of East Asia, nearsightedness is skyrocketing, with the prevalence of myopia now at an estimated 80 to 90% of the population. In areas of the world where families cannot afford eyeglasses, poor vision from nearsightedness is a serious disability that can affect a person's ability to learn and work. Globally, 13 million children worldwide, about half of them in China, are visually impaired because of poor sight, not corrected by glasses or other means, according to the World Health Organization. With those factors in mind, research teams have been scrambling to find an answer to the Asian school myopia crisis. Okay, we had some people join us. So, hi guys. Hi, Ishmael. Haven't seen you for a while.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, and hi, Anatoly. So, Anatoly, you jumped in right in. You're the next person to read. So you can.
Okay.
Yeah. So these two paragraphs there.
In certain developed parts of East Asia, nearsightedness is skyrocketing, with the prevalence of myopia now at the and an estimated 80 to 90% of the population. In areas of the world where families cannot afford eyeglasses, poor vision from nearsightedness is a serious disability that can affect a person's ability to learn at work. Globally, 13 million children worldwide, about half of them in China, are visually impaired because of poor sight not corrected by glasses or other means, according to the World Health Organization. With those factors in mind, research teams have been scrambling to find an answer to the Asian school myopia crisis.
Okay. All right, so certain developed parts of East Asia. So developed meaning in terms of industry, markets, education, that type of thing. So in these areas, so in China, in East Asia in general, there are some parts that are still what we call undeveloped or underdeveloped. So those would be maybe parts where there's still not a lot of industry or modern day living kind of things, including education. But in the parts that have been developed, nearsightedness is skyrocketing. That means it's going up exponentially or like a huge amount. So you think of a rocket goes up really fast into the air. So that's the idea. When something skyrockets, it's not a slow increase, it's a very quick increase and a lot. Okay, so the idea that it's skyrocketing is it's increasing dramatically. So the prevalence of it, or how often it occurs, is now estimated at 80 to 90%. It's like almost all of these people are becoming myopic, is what we say, myopic, nearsighted. In areas of the world where families cannot afford, so where people cannot buy eyeglasses because it's too expensive, you can't afford it. This is a serious disability. So a disability is something that keeps you from being able to perform at a normal level or at a higher level. So the poor vision is a disability that is affecting, with A there, affecting children's ability to learn, but also people's ability to work in general. But this is talking about children. So when we say globally, we're just talking about worldwide or internationally or around the world, throughout the world. You can say all those different things. 13 million children are visually impaired, and about half of them are in China. Visually impaired means you have some type of problem with your vision. And because the poor sight, so this is the same idea of poor vision, poor sight is not corrected by glasses. So glasses correct your vision, usually to 20/20, we say, or other means, meaning maybe surgical means or something like that. So this is a big problem, and so people are trying to figure out what's happening. Why is this so prevalent in China? So with those factors in mind, so considering, you could say considering these factors, this problem here, these research teams have been scrambling. So to scramble to do something means you're kind of working hard. You're trying, kind of frantically, a little bit. You're trying to do it with a lot of speed. That's what scrambling is. When you scramble to do something, you do it with speed, and it's a little bit frantic. Like, it's not slow and methodical and organized. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a problem here. We have a crisis. What is going on? So lots of people are trying to understand why this is happening in China, and they're calling it school myopia. So because it's happening in children in school. Okay, I think I should cut down a little bit because we have more people join us, so make it a little shorter. To manage this public health issue, Multiple Chinese government agencies and universities, together with experts from Stanford University, have undertaken several large studies on childhood myopia. In 2012, they examined vision in nearly 20,000 fourth and fifth grade students. 9,489 students in Shanxi, a middle-income province, and 10,137 students in Gansu, the second poorest province in China. The findings include the following. The prevalence of clinically significant myopia in the middle-income province of Shanxi is almost 23%, nearly twice that of the lower-income province of Gansu, which has a 12.7% prevalence rate of myopia. Okay, who's next? Let's see, did anybody else come in? Okay, Bakri. You can unmute yourself, Bakri, to read. There you go.
Okay. To manage, okay, or yeah, it's from to manage. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
To manage this public health issue, multiple Chinese government agencies and universities, together with experts from Stanford University, have undertaken several large studies on childhood myopia. In 2012, they examined vision in nearly 20,000 fourth and fifth grade students, 9,489 students in Shanxi, a middle-income province, and 10,137 students in Guangzhou, the second poorest province in China. The findings include the following. The prevalence of clinically significant myopia in the middle-income province of Shanxi is almost 23%, nearly twice that of the lower-income province of Guangzhou, which has a 12.7% prevalence rate of myopia.
Okay. Okay, so to manage this public health issue, so public health just refers to society at large and the health concerns that they have. So it is definitely an issue when lots of children are becoming myopic or nearsighted. Okay, so multiple, meaning lots of different Chinese agencies, government agencies, universities working together with experts from Stanford University have undertaken, that means that they've started several large studies. So to undertake something means to do it, basically, to start it, to do the work that it takes to do a study, for example. All right, so they examined all these different students, fourth and fifth grade students. Those are about, let's see, like 10, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds. That's how old the kids are that they're studying. And they're doing it in this middle-income province and then the second poorest province. So that's one of the biggest factors they're determining, at least that's what they're reporting on here, is they're making a note. They're pointing out the difference in income level to see if that's a factor. Okay, so the findings, the results, what they discovered is that it's clinically significant myopia, meaning not just a little bit, like you can't see, it's kind of blurry a little bit, but to the point where you actually need to be wearing glasses, like in order to see well at a distance. Again, prevalence. So the prevalence of the rate of myopia is higher, twice as much there. Living in the middle class area was associated with a 69% increased risk for nearsightedness, even after adjusting for other risk factors, such as time spent reading, outdoor activity, and whether the student's parents wore glasses. Higher math scores were associated with increased myopia in all children, while nearsightedness was less prevalent in males overall. The research team also looked at whether the use of blackboards as opposed to textbooks played a role in staving off myopia. Students in the lower income area rely more on blackboards to learn in the classroom, as they may have difficulty affording books, while students in the middle income areas used blackboards less often. Okay, Hamid.
Living in the middle class area was associated with a 69% increased risk for nearsightedness, even after adjusting for other risk factors, such as time spent reading, outdoor activity, and whether the student's parents wore glasses. Higher math scores were associated with increased myopia in all children, while nearsightedness was less prevalent in males overall. The research team also looked at whether the use of blackboards as opposed to textbooks played a role in staving off myopia. Students in the lower income area rely more on blackboards to learn in the classroom as they may have difficulty affording books, while students in the middle income areas used blackboards less often.
Okay, yeah. All right, so you have associated like factors. So when you're doing a research study like this, they try to determine what are the factors that contribute to, that's the language you use, contribute to. And so they find a lot of different information out. So they found that just living in the middle class area was associated with, so that means associated with, when you put two things together, you associate them. So living there and having nearsightedness, that's an association. So you had an increased risk of having nearsightedness if you were living in the middle class area. And then even after adjusting for, so when you adjust for something, it means you change, like you adjust, how important is this versus how important is that. So there are other risk factors involved in whether or not a person becomes nearsighted. So for example, how much time you spend reading, how much time you spend outside, outdoor activity, like playing sports, running around outside versus staying inside all the time. And also whether or not the student's parents wore, past tense of to wear, glasses. So that's also a factor, perhaps. But the biggest factor was living in the middle class area. That's what they're saying. Some other interesting things, people who were myopic, needed glasses, they had higher math scores, so there was association there. And also males, so young boys had less prevalence or were nearsighted less often, you can say, overall. So when you take a look at all of the boys and the girls. They also looked at blackboards. Blackboards is where the teacher writes, like with the chalk. So they're in the United States, they're not always black. They could be green also, but usually that's where you write on with chalk, and that's where the teacher is explaining the lesson, that type of stuff, versus textbooks. So opposed to means one area they use the blackboards more, versus in another area, the higher income area, they used more textbooks. So perhaps that played a role in. That means that's a factor. That's an important factor. If something plays a role in, it means it has an effect on it. So maybe there's a different effect whether or not you're using blackboards versus textbooks, and that would be to stave off something. So when you're staving off something, it means you're keeping it so that it doesn't happen. So you're doing something that makes it not happen. So maybe using blackboards staves off myopia or keeps it from occurring in the students. That's what it means, to stave off something. Let's see, that they rely more on. So in the lower income areas, they rely on means that they don't have enough money for the textbooks, perhaps, so they're dependent on, or they need to use the blackboards for learning in the classroom instead of just the textbooks because they're too expensive. They can't afford the textbooks. Okay, they found, let me just see how much more we have. Okay, they found that using blackboards had a protective effect against nearsightedness when examined as a variable alone, possibly because blackboards do not require the kind of close-up focusing that may increase myopia. However, when adjusting for other factors, they found no statistically significant differences between lower income and middle class students that might explain higher myopia prevalence in richer areas. They still don't really know. Okay, we're still on the hunt for a plausible explanation and think the results merit more study into whether using blackboards versus books may be partially responsible for protecting eyes against nearsightedness, and what other factors may play a role. said the project's lead investigator, Professor Nathan Congdon of the Zhongshan Ophthalmic Center at Sun Yat-sen University in Guangzhou, China. Okay, Ishmael.
Well, they found that using blackboards had a protective effect against nearsightedness when examined as a variable alone, possibly because blackboards do not require the kind of close-up focusing that may increase myopia. However, when adjusting for other factors, they found no statistically significant differences between lower-income and middle-class students that might explain higher myopia prevalence in richer areas. We are still on the hunt for a plausible explanation and think the results merit more study into whether using blackboards versus books may be partially responsible for protecting eyes against nearsightedness, and what other factors may play a role, said the project's lead investigator, Professor Nathan Congdon of the Zhongshan Ophthalmic Center at Sun Yat-sen University in Guangzhou, China.
Good. All right, so they found, or they discovered, they realized that using blackboards had a protective effect. So here, the effect, this is the noun versus the verb, which has an A at the beginning, a protective effect. So maybe, perhaps using a blackboard protects you from becoming nearsighted. That's the idea here. So protects you against nearsightedness. When examined, so when they study this as a variable. So a variable is something that is a factor, you could say. Because they're thinking, the way they're thinking about it is the blackboards do not require the kind of close-up focusing. So close-up meaning like when you have a book, for example, it's very close to your eyes, but the blackboard is usually far away. So perhaps that protects you because close-up activity or a lot of close-up focusing may increase the incidence of myopia. But they say here, however, when they adjusted for other factors, they didn't find that it was statistically significant. So there wasn't a big difference in that area. He says we're still on the hunt for. So not literally on the hunt, not hunting an animal or something, but when you're on the hunt for something, it means you're looking for something. So they're still trying to figure out, really what's going on here. And a plausible explanation. Plausible means like a believable, something that really makes sense. So if you're trying to explain something, it has to be plausible, like it could possibly be true. So it can't be outrageously, wildly ridiculous or something like that. So plausible means possible. So a possible explanation. And so he thinks that the results, the findings, merit more study. To merit means deserve. So that deserves to be studied more, this idea of whether or not the blackboards versus the books may be partially responsible. Partially means in part or, somewhat or a little bit at least responsible. So not the whole reason why people have glasses or not, or need glasses or not, but at least a little bit in terms of protecting your eyes. And also they're trying to figure out what other factors may play a role. So this is a common language for when you're talking about research studies. What other factors may be important? What other things should we be considering here, when we're talking about myopia? What's important is that we figure out how lower income Chinese students have avoided nearsightedness so we can use those same strategies to prevent more childhood myopia cases across Asia and perhaps even the world. Previous studies have found that people who had higher levels of education and years spent in school were more likely to be nearsighted. Many researchers also postulate that exposure to certain kinds of light particularly indoor versus outdoor light, may be responsible for the uptick in myopia. Okay, Marty.
What's important is that we figure out how lower-income Chinese students have avoided nearsightedness, so we can use those same strategies to prevent more childhood myopia cases across Asia and perhaps even the world. Previous studies have found that people who had higher levels of education and years spent in school were more likely to be nearsighted. Many researchers also postulate that exposure to certain kind of light, particularly indoor versus outdoor light, may be responsible for the uptick in myopia.
Good. All right, so again, it's important that we figure out, or that we understand, or we discover, you can use lots of different words there, how, like what's going on with these lower income Chinese students, how have they been able to avoid, so how have they avoided nearsightedness? Why? Because they want to use the same strategies, same methods, same, activities, whatever it is, they want to use that so that maybe they can prevent more childhood myopia cases. So to prevent something is to stop it from happening. So in medicine, we talk about preventative medicine or preventive medicine. It's, the idea of doing something before you get a disease or an illness or a disability or something like that. So even including with your eyes. So, how can we stop children from becoming nearsighted or becoming myopic? All right, so across Asia and even the world. So perhaps there are things that these children are doing that the other children can be doing, and so they don't have this problem. Okay, previous studies, so the studies that happened before this study, they found that people with higher levels of education and years spent in school, so to spend time somewhere, so spent in school, they're more likely to be nearsighted. They also postulate. So postulate is to give like an idea, like you think, you say, well, we think it could be this, we think it could be that. We're postulating, giving ideas. So perhaps some other things. Exposure to, when you get exposed to something, could be different lights, weather, something like that. It's when you have that experience. So if you have different experiences with different types of light, maybe like indoors all the time, like in a school setting for years and years and years, versus being outdoors and the light that you have. So in the United States, for example, the lighting indoors is a really big deal that they talk about, because it has been mostly fluorescent lighting, and for some people that's not the best thing for seeing, and also for just your health in general, versus just being outside in the sun, that type of thing. That could be responsible for the uptick. The uptick is the increase. So the uptick, so when it goes up in myopia. Last little part here. Recent studies of children and young adults in Denmark and across Asia show that more time outdoors and exposure to daylight is associated with less nearsightedness. Okay, so that little bit there. Go ahead, Amparo, you can read that.
Recent studies of children and young adults in Denmark and across Asia show that more time outdoors and exposure to daylight is associated with less nearsightedness.
Okay, so some other different types of studies. So some recent studies, things that have just happened maybe like in the last year or so. They're showing good things for being outside. So kids spending more time outdoors and exposure to daylight, again, associated with not necessarily causality, but you see less children who spend more time outside have less nearsightedness. That's the idea there. Okay, so let's talk about this now. Before we talk about it, does anybody have questions about any of the vocabulary, anything in the article itself you didn't understand? Okay. Pretty straightforward. This is a lot of, we do a lot of readings. When you go to different websites around the internet, especially like news websites or academic type websites, this is the very typical website that, article that you'll read. basically a short article describing a more in-depth study. And so Hamid found the actual direct link. And did you find the actual article?
Yes, but on it shows the first page.
Yeah. So one of the hard things about even though you can access a lot of things online, it's expensive to access the actual studies. Usually scientists, graduate students, PhD, professional doctors, those are the only ones who really need to read the exact study anyways, so we can get by with just reading kind of a summary or a synopsis of what the study was about. But as you can see, it costs money to access the full studies. And
But
those are
if I were at the university, I could reach and I could provide the lesson, but unfortunately, I am home.
Yes, yeah. It's actually, Hamid, you might hear about it when you're in Germany, but it's actually a big controversy in academia because universities spend a lot of money paying for these articles, like millions of dollars, and so it's some people want them to be cheaper or even free. So I don't know. So we'll see. But yeah, to get the actual study or access to the study even can be expensive.
I think this article is very fresh. I mean, its publishing date is 5th February 2015. So
yeah, sure.
It is normal with money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the most recent studies cost more money. Yeah. Okay, let's have a conversation about this. I want to know what you think about this. Amparo, you mentioned something about TV and video games. Certainly that could be a factor. But what do you notice, maybe even just within your own family, how many people, because you have such a large family, I would be curious, how many people wear glasses for myopia versus those who don't?
At home, just one of my brother. Because he used to watch television until really late at night.
Yeah.
And with with the light turned off. And then yes, he started to wear glasses when he was at high school.
In high school.
And,
okay.
Yeah, and now he had I think it's 7 points or something.
Wow. Diopters, they call them diopters, yeah.
Yes. Yes, you see, nowadays I have a nephew that also he started to use 3 years ago the glasses because he likes to play video games a lot. And if he don't is watching video games, he is just watching cartoons with many colors, and yeah. That's why. I suppose that is the reason. Because no more members of the family wear glasses.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's amazing, actually. What about in general? Do you notice anything in the general population, like with other kids that you see?
Yeah, you can see nowadays more children wearing glasses, even when they are just 6 years old or.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Because of that, because they are just if not an iPad, is then they are in front of the computer. If not, they are just playing video games or watching TV. That is the regular activity that they do. That is why they don't spend time outdoors. Yes, the artificial light, it could be also a problem.
Interesting. Okay, Anatoly, what about you? Do you wear glasses, Anatoly?
Yes, but only when I'm sitting in front of computer. Sometimes in front of TV, but mostly with computer. But I don't use glasses when I read text in internet, for example, on the tablet or on when I am reading books. And the reason is that I spent so much time for reading for
Mm-hmm.
sitting in front of TV.
Yeah.
I think it was the reason. And
Mm.
I wonder about nearsightedness and myopia. It is very similar words. Yes.
Yes, myopia means nearsightedness. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you say myopic, that's to describe you are myopic or you have myopia. It means you can see things up close. So usually you don't have to wear glasses to read or something like that, but you can't see far distances. So depending on how serious it is for you, you might not be able to see the TV clearly or the blackboard, or maybe just things farther away. So the idea is that you are nearsighted, so you can see up close. The opposite, we mentioned this before you came, is farsightedness. So what happens in a lot of people is as they get older, they have a harder time seeing up close. And so they get magnifying glasses, glasses that magnify the words on the page or something, and that's called farsightedness. So you actually can see better farther away, but the up close stuff is harder. That usually is more common as people get older. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. What about kids these days in Moscow? Do you notice any difference in, like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago versus now, people having glasses? Kids, I mean.
Yes, I think it's improving, if we can say it, improving in negative direction. Yes, and maybe the most significant reason for nowadays is video games. Are video games plural?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Spending time inside, up close. Yeah. Hamid, what about for you?
My eye problem is I wrote to Google Chat.
Uh-huh. Well, but did you get glasses first? Like, how old were you when you got glasses?
I was like 15, and I was in my first year high school, and everybody was kidding me because of my glass situation. So I hated, and I removed to wear glasses because of that reason.
Yeah.
But last year, uh, my right eye was very problematic. So I visited some doctors, and generally they were private hospitals. But when my parents discovered one center for my eye problem,
Yeah.
the operation was free, and that center was the best.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
So
And
I
so now it's okay. Yeah. Okay.
yes, but I am not completely okay. For example, if I close my left eye, I can see bloody to everywhere, even with my glasses as well.
Hmm. Wait. If you close your left eye, you see the blood in your eye?
Bloody.
Bloody. Oh, blurry. Say it, blurry. Yeah,
Yes.
blurry. Okay. So it's not clear for you,
Yes.
even with the glasses. Okay. Yeah,
Yes,
blurry.
my left eye is better than my right eye, and I shared
see.
a funny picture. Can you share to the lesson?
Okay. Let's see. This is Einstein
Yes, with the glasses.
with his glasses. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, these are probably the magnifying type glasses, because that's what older people do. They have these glasses, but they fall down on their nose because they can see without the glasses, and then when they're up close, they have to look through the glasses to read or something. So.
And some people say to me, with your glasses, your appearance looks like you are a scientist.
Uh-huh. A lot of scientists wear glasses, that's for sure.
Yes.
That's kind of the look they have.
So Einstein is my idol, so I try to follow his steps or his doings with the fun. funny way.
Okay, I see. All right, he's your hero. All right, Ismail, what about you? Do you wear glasses?
Well, Lisa, I don't wear glasses. I have lucky in this issue from my family. There is no one in my family who wear glasses.
Wow, that's
I
great.
think I think my genetic inheritance is good about this issue because I spent many time on the computer screen,
Yeah.
but my eyesight is okay.
Well,
But
I imagine because you told me before that you grew up in a smaller town. I imagine you spent a lot of time outdoors when you were younger. Is that true?
yes,
Yeah.
Lisa,
Yeah.
from morning until the night.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I spent the whole day outside
Yeah.
in,
I
in
think
my village.
that's good for kids. Yeah, it seems to be good.
Yes, nowadays, unfortunately, kids have to spend their time at home inside a building, and they usually watch television, and after television they play game on the computer or on the smartphone.
Yeah.
Actually, I couldn't stop my son, for example. His mother yelled him. Maybe you heard.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I can hear a little bit, but yeah.
He doesn't want to read anything. He wants always watch television and play game on the computer. I
Yeah.
I I want to find the man who create the Minecraft, Lisa.
Oh gosh,
I
Minecraft, yes.
I'm going to destroy them because I couldn't stop my son. He
Uh,
wake up in the morning and
yeah.
run into my computer and start to play Minecraft, Lisa.
Yes. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Uh,
It's a big
and
thing.
I
Yeah.
don't
Go ahead.
understand anything from this game. Actually, I look at sometime. I stay near him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he loves very much.
It's pretty creative, you know. I mean, they are building things and they're doing a lot of learning. So a lot of interesting stuff is happening for them, and it's very active. But it's just unfortunate that it involves sitting down so much and being inside and being on the computer. I mean, you know, but their brain they're doing a lot of stuff, but the activity level is low. The physical activity is low for that experience. You
Yes,
know, that's
and
yeah.
I think this game creates an addiction, maybe.
Mm.
I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, perhaps. It has a lot of yeah, it really makes the kids pretty excited. They get really interested, especially if they're playing with other kids online. Yeah. Okay, Marty,
Yes,
what about yeah, go ahead, Ishmael.
he finds some videos on the internet and
Yeah.
watch, and I think he tried to find some solution for problems in the game. I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. My son does the same thing, watches videos um, to try to understand, you know, how to figure something out, how to build something, what to do next. Yeah, sure.
Mm.
Yeah. Marty, what about you? Do you wear glasses, Marty?
Yeah, I wear glasses since I was 16. My family, all my family wear glasses, so I think that genetic play an important role in this because I read a lot, but my brother, for example, doesn't like to read, but he is wearing glasses since he was a little boy.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a very important problem is to stay on PC, to use smartphone, and to spend a lot of time on Facebook.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, oh, and for example, also in Italy, there are many children that wear glasses since they are very little,
Very little.
very young, very young.
Oh, really? Okay. Do you think, so based on that, is that why you think it has more to do maybe with genetics then? Not so much these other factors like reading or indoor, outdoor, TV, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that the genetics have an important role, but also to spend more time indoor and to, for example, to read a lot, to study. And for this, I think that the myopia is very common in the middle income areas.
Mm.
I think that is true, and it have an important role.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So some people also believe, yeah, genetics, and some people say it's habits too. Like you learn, they call them vision habits. So one thing that I learned about is like if you stare a lot, staring means you're just focused on one thing, and that can happen like with video games or it can happen with reading. If rather than having movement in your eyes, you're just fixed. We call it like you're locked on. Yeah. So, when in your experience, Marty, have you had to continue to get new prescriptions over the years, or have your eyes, we say, have they stayed stable? Like, have they gotten worse or the same?
No, for example, my myopia is the same since since 5, 6 years. When
Okay.
I was, for example, 20, 21,
Mhm.
myopia, it was very bad every year.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. It got worse every year. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what can happen too. Is it can just keep getting worse, and uh, that's definitely a problem as well. Okay. What, Amparo, what are you saying? After 40s? Yeah, after 40s. It's
Yeah,
interesting because some
people
people
generally, yeah.
don't. Yeah, go ahead.
For example, my sister, yes,
Hmm.
after 40, yes, he started
Mm.
just for working in front of the computer.
Mhm.
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 She needed to wear glasses. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely it can happen that after a certain age, 40, 50, 60s even, um, you can't see up close. Yeah. So, okay, guys. Well, thanks for coming to class. We used up all our time, so I'll say goodbye for now, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Or I have another
Bye.
class. We're gonna do a role play. So if you want to come and do some role playing, uh, we're gonna do that in an hour. Not
Yes,
right now, but in an hour.
it is just for fun.
For fun, yes. For fun.
Mm,
Okay, guys.
okay.
Take care.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
Bye.
you
Bye.
everybody.